Before we start this meeting this evening, we have scheduled a notice of a public hearing. It's the intent of the county board in McLean County to approve operating assistance applications for show bus. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by McLean County at 5:30 p.m. in room 400 of the Government Center, 115 East Washington Street, Bloomington, Illinois, 61701, on Thursday, March 16th, 2023, regarding the IDOT fiscal year 2024 applications for Section 5311 and the Downstate Operating Assistance Public Transportation Grants. At the hearing, McLean County will afford the opportunity for interested persons or agencies to be heard with respect to the social, economic, and environmental aspects of the project. Interested individuals may submit orally or in writing evidence and recommendations with respect to this project. So at this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order, and I declare this hearing open. Are there any interested persons to be heard with respect to the proposal by the McLean County Regional Planning Commission for show bus for rural transportation for McLean, Livingston, Iroquois, DeWitt, and Macon counties? I ask again, are there any interested persons or agencies wishing to be heard on this matter? I ask a third time, are there any interested persons or agencies wishing to be heard on this matter? Ms. Taylor, has anyone sent any comments into the county, either electronically or written, regarding the subject of this public hearing?
No, Chairman McIntyre, they have not.
Okay. Hearing none, this concludes the public hearing on the Illinois Department of Transportation show bus fiscal year 2024, Section 5311, and Downstate Operating Assistance Public Transportation Grants. This meeting's closed. Okay. To 5:30, and so I'd like to call to order this public meeting of the full county board this Thursday, March 16th, 2023. Before we start the meeting, I have one person who will be visiting us remotely. Having conducted the opening, well, we haven't done a roll call yet, but I've decided to move this up before the roll call because it makes sense to me. I'd like to inform the board that Member Lehman has requested to participate remotely under County Board Rule 2020 in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. A notice was received from Member Lehman in accordance with our rules. Does anyone object to allowing Member Lehman from participating remotely? If there are no objections, then I approve the request of Member Lehman to attend remotely and deem her present at this meeting. Good evening, Member Lehman. I hope you can hear me okay.
I can. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, I'd ask everyone to rise for the invocation or moment of silence by Member Lindsay Bloomfield.
Lord, we ask you to bless this season of Lent. Help us to fast from those things that keep us far from you and feast on the things that draw us near. Lord, help us to remain faithful to our county board's purpose, and may our hands and hearts be strengthened for the work we are called to do. This month, we recognize the history and extraordinary accomplishments of women. Help us reflect upon the many gifts they have brought to McLean County. We ask you to continue to bless our land and those that care for it. In this time of transformation, revitalize our compassion and renew our awareness to help us see signs of the risen Lord as we grow closer to the great Sunday. Help us all to plant seeds of hope and to nurture fruits of the Spirit through Jesus Christ. Lord, guide our county leadership and bless our police, fire, and all the public servants and our military who are both home and abroad. In this we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in reciting the pledge. Thank you. County Clerk, please call the roll.
James Soldner.
Here.
James, Jeff Tompkins.
Here.
George Wendt. Crystal Abel.
Here.
Jack Abraham. Absent. Corey Byrne.
Present.
Beverly Bell.
Present.
Jeannie Biles.
Present.
Lindsay Bloomfield. Leah Klein.
Present.
Chuck Erickson.
Present.
William John Friedrich. Elizabeth Johnston.
Here.
Val Lehman. Val Lehman. Present. Thank you. Catherine Metzger. Absent. Adam Reeves. Adam Reeves. Absent. Jim Rogal.
Present.
Natalie Roseman Mendoza.
Present.
Susan Schaefer.
Here.
John McIntyre.
Here. We have 16 members present, one remote, 17, right? We have 16 members present, also Member Lehman participating remotely, 3 members absent. We do have a quorum, and we'll go on to item 6 on our agenda. I'd like to welcome Mr. Bill Coleman, who is the consultant to the Benson Institute, to speak to us about the Broadband Breakthrough Program. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you so much. My name is Bill Coleman, and I'm a consultant to the Benton Institute for Broadband and Society. It's a policy group located in Illinois that has worked on broadband and technology issues for many years and is working in conjunction with many partners to bring a community broadband planning program to, in this point, 5 counties in Illinois. This is a unique effort in terms of the strong engagement of the agricultural community led by the United Soybean Board, Illinois Soy Association, and the Farmers Bureaus across these 5 counties. And so it's my pleasure to be here today to give you a little background on the program, what you should expect from that, and the range of opportunities your county might pursue moving forward. Next one. So these are you can see our 5 counties, all strong ag production areas. Very impressive to hear that McLean County leads the nation in both corn and soybean production. Just the other day, I was I'm doing my tour of the 5 counties, and in Hancock County, was able to visit 10,000 acre, 60,000 hog farm, and to hear about the need for broadband throughout their operations to connect to the farm office, certainly the farm family, connections to machinery and sensors in the field, connections to suppliers and customers, just throughout the whole ag cycle. Broadband is an essential tool now in the ag community. And this farmer said, well, I don't know where we're heading in the next 5 years, but I know we're going to need more connectivity. The USDA has done a study that shows that those farmers that can fully utilize precision agricultural tools will have 3 to 5% more productivity than those places lacking that kind of connectivity. For your county, that's millions, tens of millions of dollars moving forward. Next. And so this is really our program purpose of Broadband Breakthrough: determine, pursue, and achieve the best possible solution for your community. And each county, when we think of community, we are really thinking of counties right now. We know that each county has to have its own solution based on the population, based on the population, the soils, your mix of existing broadband providers, and so on. So it's really a matter of each community finding its own path. Next. It's a guided self-help 4-month program. We're halfway through now. Planning process, empowering community teams, meeting weekly. So you've got a group of about 16 people who are meeting every week for 2 hours. And when I was a Cub Scout leader, they said, well, Bill, it's only an hour a week. And that's kind of what we told them, that this is only 2 hours a week. But we know it's significantly more than that in terms of really implementing the program, the work that happens between the meetings. And so I think I want to really commend your team for attendance, for professionalism, for getting the work done. We're gathering information through surveys, broadband provider interviews, and looking at the maps that are available from the state of Illinois and the federal government, the FCC, to get a firm and shared understanding of the current situation and the opportunities for moving forward. We've really been gathering that information. If you haven't done your broadband survey yet, you shouldn't get your per diem, because no matter how small that is, because this is so important that everyone complete the survey, whether you live here in Bloomington or Normal or out in the rural countryside. We're really trying to demonstrate to the county board that the community really wants better broadband, convince the broadband providers that you want better broadband, and the funding agencies that you want better broadband. So as you go around and meet constituents, use the tools that the team has created to spur that broadband. People say, well, they know there's a lot of money coming, $42 billion from the federal government, and why do we need to worry about this? Well, there's a lot of people who don't have broadband in rural areas across Illinois and the country. So you want to make sure that you're seen as a great community partner that providers want to partner with, that you're going to make it easy to deploy, you're going to help them write grants and find customers and really make them welcome in the community. So you're making sure that you get broadband sooner. You want to ensure that the networks really meet the needs of both today and tomorrow, avoiding a quick fix that might slow you down in the future. These are generational investments. And we heard somebody say the other day in one of our community meetings, well, we should have started this 5 years ago. And the answer is yes, but that's just like planting a tree. The best time to plant a tree was 5 or 10 years ago, but the broadband is the same. So start today, work today to make that happen. And then for you to find a broadband provider partner who will really be a great partner in customer service, community partner for economic development, maintaining the network over a generation, and then to reach every customer in your county, because that's your vision. The next one. These are kind of what I consider to be the key success factors. You've got a great team now in place. We like to think about doing as opposed to just analysis. And it's very easy to get paralyzed with too much analysis. To do a lot of listening to your constituents and talk to all the people in the community. Be flexible as you go forward, because you might not, your plan might not be the right one, doesn't fit the reality, might need circumstances change, and so on. Today, earlier in Edgar County, they said, well, how can we control this chaos that's happening with all this money? Providers are interested in serving communities. And it's really, you can't, but you want to make sure that you're steering and making sure that when providers ask you to partner, that they're going to meet your goals. And you put those community goals up front. And then to be persistent, because it might not take just a year or 2 or even 3 to make this happen. And then finally, on your roles. Some communities, if you go to the next one, Tony, to be a cheerleader certainly is the easy thing. Letters of support for grants, but in doing the planning that they're doing right now, which is essential, you can think about ways to help providers grow, minimizing costs for permits and rights of way, We also heard about the need for small providers in particular to find their way through federal and state program rules, applications, and folks in the county have a lot more experience in doing those kind of things than most of the small providers do. We see that sometimes counties provide grants, the ARPA funds, reserves, enterprise funds, to put those in the hands of providers. We know that if broadband was profitable in rural areas, it would be done, but it's not really a profitable investment. So how do we lower the capital costs of this investment for private sector providers? And then we see a wide range of activities more aggressive in terms of owning conduit or facilities, entire networks that may be leased to a provider or operated as a public utility. And so that's why there's such a need for this team to develop a plan that fits your philosophies, fits your economics, fits your provider partner situation. And that's why they're doing the hard work. And I generally say that if they're not kind of confused at this point to the process, they're not thinking very hard. So it's they're doing that hard work though. And in the next couple months, we'll have some great results, I can promise. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. That's something that the county's into partnerships with. It'd be very important if everybody could access a questionnaire, either at the county, the city, or town's website, or in libraries around the county. I have a paper copy, so it'd be nice to fill that out because we need the grant money as we go down the road to get this done. Mr. Coleman said it's not necessarily profitable for all the vendors to do part of this, but if we want to reach everyone in the county, and that's our goal, it's very important we do. So thank you very much for
Very
coming.
good.
We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 7 on our item is appearance by members of the public and county employees in reference to an agenda item. I'm going to ask your patience on this and ask your opinion, but we have a gentleman here who's speaking not on the agenda tonight, but he's had an inability to sit through the whole meeting. We feel like, if without objection, we're going to ask Mr. Philip Reynolds to come up. Are there any objections? Okay, then Mr. Philip Reynolds is up and he's applied to speak to the public. Mr. Reynolds, if you'd like to speak at this time, would you want to have a microphone? Why don't we have a microphone come over to him? He's for standing. I don't know.
They're gonna bring it to you.
Pardon?
I was gonna bring it to you.
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
I was gonna bring it to you. Here.
She's gonna bring the mic to you. You're gonna talk with the mic over here. Is it okay if he just sits in his chair? Yeah.
I'm
just
not getting you.
You can just go sit back down in your chair and.
Oh, yeah, that'll work.
And then you can use the mic and.
Yeah. I gotta get my glasses, Gary.
The public speakers have 3 minutes to speak. I'm not sure he'll be able to hear me. Mr. Burton Dirks, if you could help me on this, appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I've lost my hearing. I'm very sorry to take up this time. I'm going to read what I have to say. My name is Philip Reynolds. Since 1986, I have lived approximately 4 miles north of Leroy. I was born in the year 1932 in McLean County, and except for 3 years of my life that I volunteered and donated to this country and to McLean County, serving as a paratrooper for the 82nd Airborne Division, and wherever it took me, I've always lived in McLean County. I've never been in jail. I'm very proud to say my wife and I raised a large family, and I've never received a handout from anybody or any source. My wife of now 70 years, Edith, have always paid her bills and have been respectful in McLean County. And now Both our lives are considered to be coming down the home stretch. The great McLean County has uncaringly betrayed and wronged myself and my wife by refusing to correct admitted untrue public information that clearly shows us to be low-life liars. There is something terribly wrong when you speak the truth and the county shows you to be a liar while doing so. My original, only, and still number one complaint still remains with no concern for any county official. Complaint. The county published untrue public information long-term and daily on the public information page of the county website that makes myself and my wife to be low-life liars as we speak the absolute and proven truth. This untrue public information informs the public that we have a lien on our property. From this published untruth, I complained. The county then conducted 2 separate investigations. Both investigations indeed showed that we have never had a lien on our property. The county then sends me a notarized letter of truth telling me, as though I didn't know, that there has never been a lien on our property. The letter also includes an apology to me for their mistake and wrongdoing of publishing untrue information. The problem with this letter of truth, as I call it, is that this correct, true information in the letter should have and still should be given to the public. After the public be informed of untruth, how can the public know the truth if the public is not properly informed? The county, controlled by its trusted leaders, refused to inform the public of the truth. This leaves myself and my wife to be looked upon as low-life liars forever. Ultimately, County Administrator Cassie Taylor tells me in her email that I have been heard and she considers the issue closed. Closed? The issue of my original and only complaint has never been given any attention or even a show of concern, although it is considered closed. Now, in tune with my original and still remaining complaint I just described, brings my complaints against the following individuals who hold county positions of trust, and also giving my reasons for my complaint against each. Complaint against County Administrator Cassie Taylor for telling me she considers the issue closed, yet she cannot, or at least is unwilling, to provide me with a copy of the public being properly informed of the truth. After the public being informed of the untruth, plus she rudely, uncaringly ignores my emails requesting a response. Complaint again against County Board Member James Soldner, who represents the area of which I live, for ignoring many of my emails or requesting a response, and for Jim rudely and disrespectfully, inappropriately hanging up on me when I phoned him. James Soldner stated, "There are things I cannot discuss. I have no comment. You have a nice day. Goodbye." James Soldner instantly hung up. Before James Soldner hung up the phone on me, he asked me with a touch of sarcasm, attempting to minimize the untrue published public information that clearly shows both myself and my wife to be low-life liars. As we speak the proven truth, he asked of me, just how many do you think read that untrue published information? Next complaint against County Board Member John McIntyre, Chairman of the Board, for totally ignoring all of my emails I have sent to him, all requesting a response. I have never received an email from John McIntyre, ever, never. Last complaint against County Chief Supervisor of Assessments Tim Georgiak for ignoring my questions pertaining to county business practices and further ignoring my continued emails requesting a response. And lastly, although not forgotten nor forgiven, I shall exclude my complaints against other public officials who were profoundly rude and disrespectful and unfair toward me, as my records will support, as they no longer serve the county position they held at the time. I shall end at this time, and thank you all for listening. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda it has before you. What say you? Motion by Member Schaefer to approve. Is there a second? Second by Member Klein. Any comments or questions or discussion or corrections of the consent agenda? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. And opposed? Thank you. I'll try to remember to delay my taking of the votes until that time. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, the next thing we have are resolutions and congratulations and commendations. The first one we have, I'd like to have Member Friedrich and Chairman of McLean County Farm Bureau, Mr. Brian Dirks, come to the Solner, and also Member Solner, to join me as we do the support of McLean County Agriculture and National Ag Day.
Thank you. So this is a county board proclamation proclaiming March 21st, 2023 National Ag Day. Whereas National Ag Day marks a nationwide effort to tell the story of American agriculture and remind us that agriculture plays an essential part of all our daily lives. Whereas National Ag Day has been celebrated since 1973 and has been proclaimed as such annually by each sitting U.S. president. Whereas the 2023 National Ag Day theme is agriculture, growing a climate for tomorrow, and 2023 marks the 50th anniversary of the event. Whereas National Ag Day encourages every American to learn about where food comes from and the farmers that grow it, appreciate the role agriculture plays in providing safe and abundant and affordable food, feed, fuel, and fiber, acknowledge the essential role of agriculture in maintaining a strong economy, protecting our environment, and consider the wide range of career opportunities in agriculture, food, and fiber industry. Now therefore be it resolved, the McLean County Board thanks farmers and our local ag business for their contributions to our local communities, and be it further resolved by the McLean County Board that March 21st, 2023 is designated as National Ag Day, adopted this McLean County Board, 16th of March, 2023.
I'm reading a resolution of the McLean County Board in support of McLean County agriculture. Whereas Illinois is home to more than 71,000 farms, 96% of which are family-owned, and a third which include livestock. And McLean County accounts for 1,416 of those farms producing a diversified range of grain, specialty crops, and livestock, and consistently produces the largest volume of corn and soybeans of any country in the nation. Whereas agriculture represents the largest land use in the county, representing approximately 85% of the total land area, farmland is an infinite resource that is vital to agriculture, food production, and the economic well-being of our county, with approximately 93% of the total acreage in McLean County designated as prime farmland based on soil types and productivity capacity. Whereas agriculture in McLean County supports 5,593 jobs, representing an estimated 5% of total jobs in the county, with a total economic impact estimated at $1.5 billion annually. Whereas agribusiness has been identified as one of the 5 key economic sectors targeting for growth by the Bloomington-Normal Economic Development Council, with new livestock developing, providing opportunities for economic growth, additional jobs, and the next generation of farmers. Whereas farmers in Illinois comply with robust regulations involving state and federal agencies to ensure environmentally responsible practices, data, and information from state regulatory agencies demonstrating environmental issues from agriculture are an extreme rare occurrence. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the McLean County Board acknowledges the value of agriculture to our local economy and rural economies and expresses support for the continuing growth and development of agriculture within our county, adopted by the McLean County Board on this 16th day, February 2023.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Bill. We, the Farm Bureau, we appreciate the opportunity to support and recognize McLean County farmers and the contributions of agriculture to our local economy. I would like to thank the McLean County Board for their partnership in recognizing agriculture. In front of you at this time, there is a small pin of Allies of Ag, so I hope you wear that with pride. National Ag Day is March 21st, 2023. Ag Day is about recognizing and celebrating the contribution of agriculture in everyday lives. We appreciate all who play a role in providing food, fuel, and our communities. If you did not know, it's been published that McLean County is not #1 in Illinois, but #1 in the nation in corn and #1 in the nation of soybeans. So we take that, it's great honors to do that. I don't think that's ever been done. Also, I would love to mention about last week was Ag Safety Awareness. And we try to promote safety roads at our school, a couple schools in the spring, couple schools in the fall, trying to tell kids how close. We take the machinery to the schools, tell the kids, this is what you see when you sit in a tractor. You don't see much behind that grain cart. So we're trying to make people aware of different things. So safety awareness. It was March 6th through the 10th. I've lost 2 good friends to safety accidents. One was Bruce and one was Adam. This fall, board member Mark, accidents can happen in a split second. So you have to be aware, just not March 6th to the 10th. You have to be aware about safety all the time. Safety is a small word, but it only takes a split second. Safety can come in different forms. It comes in even being prepared for the heat and cold weather. Make sure you're planning on your clothing for the weather. Stay hydrated and let others know where you're working. Hazards on the farm can be falling objects, can be chemicals that we use, can be the noise, just to name a few items. Personal protective equipment is always needed. The importance of sleep is needed to prevent accidents. You can be overworked and accidents can happen anytime. I remember, this is for Sarah. She was not a farmer, but she's was a good friend of mine. A healthy farm and a healthy home is nothing without a healthy you. If you or someone know that is struggling with daily stress, depression, or mental challenges, please reach out and ask for help. I remember talking to a few board members when we were interviewing. That was like 8 out of 8 concerns. And that's concerns for the Farm Bureau too. So please, just remember, you're not alone. We are stronger together. Thank you.
Next on our agenda is item G2. I'd like to have Vice Chairman, Chair Elizabeth Johnson come up to the podium for National Reading Month.
Thank you, Chair McIntyre. And I'd like to invite the libraries and United Way who are here as well, who we're going to be honoring. So this is the McLean County Board proclamation proclaiming March 2023 as National Reading Month. Whereas the National Reading Month was celebrated for the first time in 1994 to celebrate the birthday of famed American children's author Dr. Seuss on his birthday, March 2nd. And whereas reading has been shown to improve vocabulary, comprehension, critical thinking skills, memory, school outcomes, analytical skills, confidence, writing skills, social skills, focus, concentration, cultural understanding, imagination, communication, and creativity, as well as develop empathy, emotional understanding, leadership skills, and broaden their horizons. And whereas, according to the Department of Education estimates, more than half of the United States adults, 54%, between 16 and 74 years of age, lack proficiency in literacy, reading below the equivalent of a sixth grade level. And whereas illiteracy incurs a massive economic toll on our economy and keeps not just individuals, but our entire nation from reaching our full potential. And whereas McLean County stands firmly committed to promoting reading as a catalyst for our students' future academic success, their preparation for America's jobs of the future, and their ability to compete in a global economy. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the McLean County Board commends the work of all organizations in McLean County whose missions include promoting reading, improving literacy, and improving educational outcomes for all students and people of our community, including but not limited to nonprofits, parents, teachers, tutors, school officials, and libraries. And be it further resolved by the McLean County Board that the month of March 2023 is designated as National Reading Month in McLean County. Adopted by the McLean County Board this 16th day of March 2023. And I want to thank the organizations that were here today. I know we invited many of the libraries around the county, and they were all very appreciative of our recognition of their efforts, but they couldn't all get a representative here today. I do know that we have a Miss Ashley Enghausen from Cheney's Grove. Thank you. We have Barb Borg from Danvers. I believe we have a Jean Hamilton from the Bloomington Public Library. And finally, we have a few members, I believe, from United Way. Looking for is it Laura O'Connor? Thank you, guys. I'm so appreciative of all the work that they do to promote literacy, and particularly the United Way's recent partnership with the Dolly Parton Foundation and what that means for the people of McLean County. So thank you so much for everything that you guys do, and keep up the good work.
Next item on our agenda is a resolution congratulating members of the Blue Ribbon Panel. And I'd like to invite those who are able to attend, who have not retired or moved out of town since, to join us. I don't know if Mr. Michael Donnell is here. Sonia Reese, Dr. Mary Dick is here, I believe. And I don't know if there is anyone else at this time. I'm going to read the resolution and like to say a few words about this group and what they have done. I'll try to read through this being National Reading Month. I'll see if I can read it okay. Resolution of appreciation and recognition of services on the McLean County Nursing Home Blue Ribbon Panel. Whereas the County of McLean has provided nursing home services since the establishment of the McLean County Farm Home in the early 1870s and continues to provide nursing home services at the current McLean County Nursing Home. And whereas the mission statement of the McLean County Nursing Home has been and remains today to provide care for the elderly residents for our community, regardless of their ability to pay. And whereas given this mission, the nursing home traditionally provides services to those most in the need in the community, resulting in 70% of the nursing home residents relying on Medicaid for payment of services. And whereas national and state trends in Medicaid reimbursement, as well as a reduction in daily census due to changing industry practices, contribute to concern for the future of the viability of the nursing home. And whereas the McLean County Board, in an effort to increase sustainability, created the Blue Ribbon Panel of experts to analyze the matter. And whereas McLean County Nursing Home Blue Ribbon Panel included leaders from Broman Advocate, St. Joe, Westminster Village, Mennonite College of Nursing, Chestnut Health Services, and Illinois Community Health and Aging Collaborative. And whereas the group met on multiple occasions and applied their experience and knowledge of local elderly healthcare needs and current market trends to conduct a study, compile information, discuss possible solutions, and draft a formal recommendation which the panel formally presented to this McLean County Board. And whereas the group continued to meet voluntarily on multiple occasions after the county board report and approve their recommendations to review and provide advice to leaders of our nursing home. Whereas the county board wants to recognize those individuals who volunteered their time to assist in this endeavor. Now therefore be it resolved that the county board of McLean County, Illinois, and citizens of McLean County extend a grateful thank you to the members of the McLean County Nursing Home Blue Ground panel adopted this by the McLean County Board this 16th day of March 2023. We have two members here of the panel tonight. We have Sonia Reese and Dr. Mary Dick, and I want each of you to have a proclamation. We have those for the other members as well, if I can find the other one. What I'm kind of I have a loss for words for all that they've done to help us over this last 3 years. It's been some long time, because they did come in voluntarily. At the time, the Finance Committee was thinking about spending $50,000 to $80,000 to hire a consultant to come in from out of town and take a look at our financial situations and the McLean County nursing home operations. At the time, I was speaking with people like these two here and others about the fact that they could come in and volunteer their services. And we felt we got even better expert advice from them. And so they met frequently and wrote a report and reported to our board at that time. That evening, I invited them over to a social event to thank them. And while talking, they said, well, you're going to need somebody to continue to give advice. So they continued to stay on with us for the next 3 years. Other members of that committee you might be interested were Mr. Doug Brown, who is the Post-Acute Network and Clinical Operations Manager for Broman, Mr. Michael Donnell, Executive Director of the Illinois Community Health and Aging Collaborative, Roger Hunt, former CEO and Director of Broman Hospital, and then Sonia Reese, of course. Sonia, thank you for coming. Former Director of Health Facilities and Planning for Advocate. Dr. Mary Dick, thank you for coming. Associate Dean, Mennonite College of Nursing, Illinois State University. Russ Hagan, a former CEO, retired for Chestnut Health Services. A.J. August Coercio Grosso, who came over from Peoria and helped us volunteering, who was at the time president of Home Care and Post-Acute Services for OSF Healthcare. We also had Denise Wilson, Associate Dean from Illinois State University, Director of Mennonite College of Nursing, Catherine Miller, who was also from Mennonite College of Nursing, and Rose Stottle, who was at the time from East Central Illinois Agency on Agency and Heritage Enterprises. All these people were wonderful. The knowledge that they volunteered helped us tremendously. We're very fortunate. Thank you very much. Would you like to say a few words?
Sure. I was just honored to be a part of that group. I will tell you, that was an impressive group of people that knew a lot about long-term care. And they rolled up their sleeves and looked at it. We toured, we talked, we gave information about what we knew from the world. I think of Barb Nathan, who just recently retired from Westminster, and all of her experiences with what that meant. Each one of them, Roger Hunt, has now moved to Chicago. So a lot of people rolled up their sleeves and did some work for this, because we believe that the McLean County Nursing Home is a gem. And people should know that and not take for granted that that's an easy thing to do. It's not. So they were successful in finding a good administrator, and now I think our work is pretty well underway.
I think so.
You think so? Thank you, Chairman McIntyre, for the opportunity.
Absolutely our pleasure. Thank you very much.
It was really my privilege to be able to serve on the Blue Ribbon panel. I was a latecomer to the board after a number of other nurses had left the board, but I appreciated that opportunity and the ability to network with the other people on the Blue Ribbon panel. And yes, there was a wealth of experience and knowledge about long-term care on that board, and hopefully I contribute a little bit. So thank you much for the opportunity, and it was good to meet with you, Chairman McIntyre, and thanks for this opportunity.
Before we move on, I omitted on the consent agenda, there was a transfer which requires a 2/3 vote, which is on pages 32 and 33 of your packet. Are there any nay votes? Anyone who is against us doing those transfers? If I hear any, please say. If not, we'll deem those to be passed unanimously. And we'll go on to item 9 on our agenda. It's a report of standing committees. First of all, a report of the Executive Committee, Vice Chair Johnston.
Thank you, Chair McIntyre. The Executive Committee brings 4 items for action. Item 9A1A is request approval of amendments to Chapter 20 of the McLean County Code, County Board Rules, and I so move.
Motion by Vice Chair Johnston. Is there a second? Second by Member Byrne. Comments or questions? Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Thank you. Motion's carried.
Thank you. Item 9A1B is request approval of a sponsored research agreement with the Illinois State University for work with the Behavioral Health Coordinating Council. As I am an employee of ISU, I will be abstaining, and so I will need a motion and a second.
So Vice Chair Johnston has turned this back over to me to ask for a motion to pass this item because of her abstention in employment at Illinois State University. Motion by Member Schaefer. Is there a second? Second by Member Rogel. Comments or questions? Yes, Member, I'm sorry.
Just a note for the record that I must also abstain.
Also, let the record show that Member Klein is abstaining because of her employment as well, conflict. Any other questions? All in favor, please say aye. And opposed? Motion is passed.
All right, thank you. Moving on, item 9A1C is request approval of an emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2022 combined annual appropriation for Fund 0001, and I so move.
Motion by Vice Chairman Johnston. Is there a second? Second by Member Bell. Comments or questions? Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed?
Aye.
Motion's passed.
Okay.
Member Lehman, I am getting your vote recorded. I'm sorry. I always get in a hurry. I'll try to delay. Somebody's going to have to tell me to delay. Okay, you have the floor.
Thank you. Final item is item 9A1D, request approval of an emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2022 combined annual appropriation for Fund 0163, and I so move.
Motion by Vice Chairman Johnston. Is there a second? Second by Member Byrne. Comments or questions? All in favor, please say aye.
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 And opposed? And the motion has passed.
All right, and that is all of our items for action tonight. We have no items for information to be presented, and our minutes can be found on pages 32 to 41 of the unapproved packet.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll go on to the report of the Finance Committee. Chair Metzger is out of town at the National Track and Field Meet in Louisville, Kentucky. And so Member Lehman would usually fill in here, but she's calling in remotely. So we're going to go ahead. And it was discussed by committee to go to Senior Member Erickson. So you have the floor.
I prefer seasoned, but we'll go with senior. First item on the agenda is item 9B1. Can I combine A, C, and E?
We did that during the executive committee. Without objection, we can combine items A, C, and E. Any objection? Hearing none, you may proceed.
First item is item 9B1A, request approval of an ordinance of the McLean County Board amending the 2022 Combined Annual Budget and Appropriation Ordinance. Item 9B1C, request approval of an emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2022 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance for the county board, county clerk, animal control, Bloomington election, and county clerk budgets. And item 9B1C, request approval of an emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2022 combined annual appropriation for Fund 0135, and I so move.
Motion for items A, C, and E by Member Erickson. Is there a second? Second by Member Friedrich. Comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed. And motion has passed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item on the agenda is item 9B1B, request approval of an ordinance of the McLean County Board amending the 2023 combined annual budget and appropriation ordinance, and I so move.
Motion by Member Erickson. Is there a second? Second by Member Bloomfield. Comments or questions? Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And the motion's passed.
Thank you. Last item on the agenda is item 9B1D, request approval of an ordinance transferring monies from the County General Fund 0001 to the Nursing Home Fund 0401 for fiscal year 2023, and I so move.
Motion by Member Erickson, second by Member Schaefer. Comments or questions? Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And the motion has passed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Finance Committee has no other items to present for action, and our general report can be found on pages 14 through 26 of the unapproved minutes.
Thank you, Member Erickson, for your extra duty, and we'll go on to the Health Committee report. Chairman Schaefer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Health Committee has a number of items for action, and if there's no objection, I would like to combine 9C1C, D, and E together when we get to them.
Okay, give us a minute on that one. C, D, and E.
Yes.
Okay. All three are annual appropriation, more, okay.
They're all-
Are
all
there
department.
any objections to items C, D, and E? Hearing none, you may proceed.
Thank you. 9C1A is request approval of an emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2022 combined annual appropriation budget ordinance for Fund 0401, and I so move.
Motion by Chair Schaefer. Is there a second? Second by Member Biles. Comments or questions? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
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 And opposed? Motion has passed.
9C1B is request approval and affiliation agreement with Heartland Community College, and I so move.
Motion by Chair Schaefer. Is there a second? Second by Member Johnston. Comments or questions? Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
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 And opposed? And the motion's carried.
9C1C is request approval and emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2022 combined annual appropriation budget and budget ordinance for Fund 105. D is request approval of an emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2022 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance for Fund 107. E is request approval of an emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2022 combined annual appropriation budget ordinance for Fund 110, and I so move.
Motion by Chair Schaefer. Is there a second? Second by Member Solner. Sorry. Comments or questions? Discussion. Items C, D, and E. All in favor, please say aye.
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 And opposed? Motion has passed.
9C1F is request approval of emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2023 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance for Fund 107, and I so move.
Motion by Chairman Schaefer. Is there a second? Second by Member Bell. Comments or questions? Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 And opposed? Motion is passed.
9C1G is request approval of proposed amendments to the chapters 205 fees and 216 food service of the McLean County Code, and I so move.
Motion by Chair Schaefer, is there a second? Second by Member Biles, comments or questions? Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion's passed.
And finally, 9C1H is a request approval of emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2022 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance for Fund 0135, and I so move.
Motion by Chairman Schaefer, is there a second? Second by Member Klein, comments or questions? All in favor, please say aye.
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 And opposed? And the motion has passed.
Our general report can be found on pages 27 through 31 of the unapproved minutes packet.
Thank you very much. We'll go on to item D, the report of the Justice Committee. Chairman Erickson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Justice Committee has 3 items for action. The first item is item 9D1A, request approval of a sponsored research agreement with Illinois State University for work with McLean County's Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, and I so move.
There's a motion by Chairman Erickson. Is there a second? Second by Member Tompkins. Any abstentions for this? 2 abstentions, Member Johnston and Member Klein, because of their employment at Illinois State University. Any comments or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. And opposed? Motion is passed.
Next item on the agenda is item 9D1B, request approval of an emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2022 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance for the county board, sheriff, coroner, and circuit court budgets, and I so move.
Motion by Chairman Erickson, second by Member Bloomfield. Comments or questions? Discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And motion's passed.
Last item on the agenda is item 9D1C, request approval of an emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2022 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance for the McLean County Metro Communication Center Fund, and I so move.
Motion by Chairman Erickson, second by Member Schaefer. Comments or questions? Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? The motion has passed.
The Justice Committee has no other items for action. Our general report can be found on pages 10 through 13 of the unapproved minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go on to the report of the Property Committee. Vice Chair Soldner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Property has 1 item tonight. 9E1A requests approval of an ordinance by the McLean County Board amending Chapter 205 fees, Article 11 miscellaneous code fees, in the McLean County Code, and I so move.
Motion by Vice Chair Soldner, second by Member Byrne. Comments or questions? Discussion? Good. Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 And opposed? And the motion is passed.
That's all property has tonight. Our general report can be found on pages 42 through 47 of the unapproved minutes.
Thank you, sir. We'll go on to the item F, report of the Land Use and Development Committee. Chair Klein.
Good evening, Chairman. The Land Use and Development Committee has 2 items for action this evening. Our first is item 9F1A, request approval of a decommissioning agreement with EDP, and I so move.
Motion by Chair Klein. Is there a second? Second by Member Johnson. Comments or questions? Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And the motion's passed.
Our second item is 9F1B, request approval of an escrow agreement with EDP, and I so move.
Motion by Chair Klein. Is there a second? Second by Member Friedrich. Comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And the motion has passed.
Thank you, Chairman. Our general report can be found on pages 6 through 8 of the unapproved minutes. And I'll take any questions if anyone has any.
Thank you very much. We'll go on to the report of the Transportation Committee. Chair Rogal.
Yes, the Transportation Committee has 4 items for action tonight. First one is 9G1A, request approval of Illinois Department of Transportation IDOT FY 2024, Section 5311 Formula Application for Rural Areas Operation Assistance. I so move.
Motion by Chairman Rogal. Is there a second? Second by Member Abel. Comments or questions? Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And the motion's carried.
Next, we have 9G1B, request approval of IDOT FY 2024 Downstate Operating Assistance Program, application for rural areas. I so move.
Motion by Chairman Rogal. Is there a second? Second by Member Bloomfield. Comments or questions? Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And the motion's carried.
Next, we have 9G1C, request approval of purchase of service agreement between McLean County and Showbus for rural public transportation in FY 2024. I so move.
Motion by Chairman Rogal. Is there a second? Second by Member Abel. Comments or questions? Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And the motion's carried.
Last up, we have 9G1D, request approval of revised vehicle lease agreement between McLean County and Showbus. I so move.
Motion by Chairman Rogal. Is there a second? Member Byrne, second. Comments or question? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And the motion's passed.
We have no other items for action. Our general report can be found on pages 2 through 5 of the unapproved minutes.
Thank you, sir. We're going on the report of the County Administrator. Ms. Taylor.
Thank you for the opportunity, Chairman McIntyre. I have nothing to present at this meeting.
Okay, we'll go on to number 9 on our agenda, appearances by members of the public and county employees in reference to an item not on the agenda. Thank you for your patience in allowing Mr. Reynolds to appear early. I won't speak on that at this time. We'll go on to other business. Item 10, Member Klein.
I know everyone's anxious to go home, but I would like to just say 2 quick things. First, I just want to publicly recognize Mr. Phil Dick, the Director of Building and Zoning for the county, and his 30 years of working at the county. So I just wanted to give him some recognition. And I also just wanted to thank Assistant State's Attorney Spanos for all of the work on the EDP agreement. I know it was a lot, and we appreciate it very much.
All right, appreciate it very much. Mr. Dick, stand up. Or Mr. Phil. Yeah. Not always an easy job. There you go. Anyone else? Other business? Member Johnston.
I echo Member Klein. I know everybody's ready and anxious to get out, but this is our last meeting before the municipal voting, and we actually have early voting going on right now, and weekend voting will be starting March 24th, 26th, April 1st and 2nd. So if work does not allow you to get to the polls during the week, please make sure you take advantage of the weekend voting. And I want to thank both Ms. Michael and the County Clerk's Office and the BEC for making that available to the public. Thank you.
Thank you. I have one thing as chairman. I have to emphasize the importance of attendance to committees. We have 6 people on the committee now. We must have a quorum there at all times. We've had 4 occasions already where we have not had enough people there, where we've had calls in because of our rules. I've attended some, and also Member Johnson has. It's so important. And the other thing that's very important for us is if you must call in to our county administrative offices and let us know, because we don't want business to go by the wayside because somebody couldn't get here and we didn't have enough people to conduct business. And I know some of you are new. I just want to reemphasize that rule again because it is so important for us to get things done. And otherwise, Member Johnson and I will be scrambling. It was like 5-minute notices, or they caught her on the elevator last time when she was here prior to the meeting. So it's very important to us, and I hope everybody understands the responsibility that's involved with that. Also, ethics, when we're in closed sessions, remember, closed sessions are closed for a reason. They're there so that the public does not have all the information, which in many cases could create situations of liability for the county, personal injury to anyone else or employees, et cetera, in which they might be discussed, and not the items that might need to be discussed and that no one needs to know about. There is a Privacy Act that we have. So let's be sure and do those things as well. I don't have anything else tonight. Does anyone else? Yes, sir. Member Erickson.
Mr. Chairman, I would just add that if it's a quorum issue, that you would also notify the chairman of the respective committee. I think you had to notify administration and the chairperson of the respective committee, so the chairperson knows as well. I know that Julie will send me an email, but it's still nice to hear directly
Yes. Yeah,
from
duly
the
noted.
person
I
as
think
well.
that's a good suggestion. We will follow through with that. Anyone else have anything tonight? I don't think. We had a situation tonight where a public speaker addressed the issue. I'd rather not at this time speak about it, except to say that I will go on record to say that there was a certified letter stating that the wrong box was checked. This is 2.5 years ago for Mr. Reynolds' title. I actually took the letter to Mr. Reynolds' house with my wife and visited and explained and apologized to him that the box had been marked wrong. And meanwhile, there was a change of administration, and the person who had signed it was deceased. And that's all I need to say about it. I want to know on record that he was notified, and it is publicly acknowledged that the wrong box was checked. He did not have a lien on his mortgage property. And so I believe that's all I need to say. So thank you very much for your patience tonight. Long meeting. Take care of yourself and each other, and we'll move forward. This meeting is adjourned.